Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Real Confessions podcast. I am your host, Ada Ozuna. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode if you're returning. And if you're new, make sure you go ahead and subscribe and stick around because you'll love it here, trust me. So this episode is actually an older episode. So this was recorded October of 2020. But I wanted to go ahead and put it out there because this is really a moment where I was really going through it, okay? So you guys are going to see that this is more of a raw, laid back, but real transparent podcast episode. So this is around the time where I almost lost my son, around the time where I turned 21, around the time where I launched my podcast. So 2020 was very eventful, but especially the month of October. For me, personally, I was going through a lot mentally, but I wanted to go ahead and put out this episode because I want to let you guys know that I'm human and I go through shit, okay? I go through struggles, We all go through things, but you can't let those things hold you back from, keep on, moving forward. So yeah, I want this episode to be motivation and inspiration to you. You're actually going to hear clips of me talking to the doctors when I was in the hospital for my son. So yeah, this is really transparent and raw. So I hope this is able to help you in any way, shape, or form. This is something that really did affect me and it still does affect me. But yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for the support and the love with my podcast. This is really a safe space and I just love the community that I'm building. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the episode. You are real, boy. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Real Confessions podcast. I am your host, Ada Ozuna. So before we get into the episode, I just wanted to let you guys know that I am driving. So if I sound a little bit distracted, that is why. And if the audio isn't as good, that is also why, because I don't have my laptop or my microphone or none of that. It's just my headphones. I don't even have notes. I don't have nothing. But this is just a topic that I feel like I have to talk about, not only because this is something that I've learned, but I feel like it's something that somebody else, can relate to, or they can benefit from this episode. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about perspective and how important it is. So I would read the actual definition of perspective if I wasn't driving, but I'm gonna just give y'all my definition. So my definition of perspective is just the way you view life or any situation or a relationship or a friendship or something that you're going through. Like whatever it is that you're going through, your attitude towards things, how you react towards things, that is your perspective. So that is my definition. I'm pretty sure that's what it means, but yeah, that's my definition of perspective. So I definitely feel like perspective is very important when it comes to life, when it comes to you and your situationships, not even situationships, your relationships, things that you've been through, your situation currently, your struggles, anything in life. I feel like having perspective is important. So I feel like when you don't have perspective, or when you're in your head about things, you tend to put yourself down, you tend to not believe in yourself, and you tend to not trust the process. So I feel like it's all about your mindset. These are things that I'm always learning. I always kind of had this mentality. It's crazy because when I was younger, I would be friends with people. Not that there's anything wrong with the people I was friends with, but I just felt like I was way different. I feel like at the time, yes, you're in high school. What high schoolers think about is partying and drinking. And that's cool and all. But that was something that me personally, I've never been interested in. I don't know why. That's just something I haven't been interested in. So when they were doing those things, not that there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, everybody has their hobbies, what they like. But personally, me, that's not the type of person that I was. And I always used to say to myself, I'm different. And not on no cocky shit or to just be arrogant. No, I would always say I'm different. And I meant that mentally. Mentally, I knew I was different from the people that I was surrounding myself with. I knew that I was different, and I knew that my mindset was different. So that is something that at a young age, I kind of had this mentality and this perspective of life. Of course, I have times where I'm negative. So we're not positive 24/7. This is something that I feel like people think Like, I'm a pretty positive person, but I feel like maybe people think I'm always positive every single day, 24/7. No, I'm human, okay? We go through things. You know, I have mood swings. I have times where I'm just annoyed. Like, I have my moments, okay? I'm not always positive 24/7, but it's all on my perspective. It's the way I think about certain situations. Like I may have something, okay, let's just talk about me almost losing my son. This is a situation that recently happened to me, and you guys probably feel like, oh my gosh, she's always talking about it, but it's something that definitely still affects me right now. Every single day I literally pray to God, and I just thank him. I thank him every single day, because I was really to the point of losing him, and before my eyes. So this is something that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to use this situation as an example. So, for example, I almost lost my child. I almost lost Josiah. And that is something that, like I said, affects me. But at the moment it was happening, I knew that I had to remain strong for Josiah. You know, despite everybody in my family, there's a truck that just passed by, but despite everybody in my family freaking out about what happened, crying, depressed, all these emotions and anxiety, and I had my emotions too, you know, I felt horrible about what happened. You know, I felt like, oh my God, I can't do anything about it. Everything is in God's hands. But at the end of the day, I had to let go of that anxiety and that worry, even though it was still kind of there, but I put it on the back burner. But I had to shift my perspective. I had to think about ways to help him, ways to remain strong, ways to actually help him, and be able to talk to the doctors with a mindset, basically be able to be level-headed, if that makes sense. Be able to talk to the doctors without crying, and know what I'm talking about, and know what they're talking about, and comprehend what they're telling me and what's happening.
Okay, any known allergies?
No.
Do you take any medications at home? Anything? Great. Any exposure to anyone with COVID or anything? Okay.
Unless it's a central venous. We'll give him an hour or so on that, Mom, on a much decreased rate. If he looks good on that, we'll then take the rate away completely. Mm-hmm. So all the ventilator is doing is just helping him when he takes a breath, but he has to take all the breaths on his own. If that looks good, then total time you're looking at is 2, 3, maybe 4 hours of getting that 2 out.
Okay.
If, however, he shows us he's not ready, that's okay. Mm-hmm. We'll just make sure he stays sedated and comfortable and let those lungs recover.
Okay, sounds good. I had to remain strong and positive. You know, I was even being positive and cracking jokes to my sister about things that Josiah has done. And I feel like certain people will be like, why is she laughing in this situation? But it's not laughing because I don't care. It's laughing at the fact that my perspective is a perspective that I knew everything was going to be okay. Yes, I was scared. Yes, it was a lot that happened. Yes, it was very eventful. Yes, it was something that definitely still affects me, and I'm traumatized for life. You know, I'm traumatized for life. I never thought that me losing my son, I never thought that would happen to me as a mother. And that is one of my biggest fears, my son choking. That's what happens. And he choked in front of me. And it was the scariest moment ever. Like I said, I'm traumatized for life. But it's something that you have to shift your mindset with whatever that happens to you. I ended up shifting my mindset in knowing that everything was going to be okay. You know, I know he's hurting right now, and I'm hurting right now. My family is hurting right now, but I have to remain strong, and you have to have you have to basically look at life in a different perspective. In this situation, I was kind of comparing Josiah's situation to other people's situation. So I changed my perspective. I was like, you know what? I have a cousin that got shot. He survived. I know somebody that has a daughter that had open heart surgery. She survived. So yes, you know, what Josiah is going through hurts me. Yes, I know it hurts him. But I know that he's going to be okay, and I had to shift my perspective. And that's the same thing that you need to do when it comes to whatever situation comes your way, because life is hard. Never forget that life is hard. Life is not easy, and life is unexpected. Things will happen, you know? You're going to go through so many emotions, go through so many situations, so many struggles, make so many mistakes. But at the end of the day, if you have you have to look at life in a different perspective. Yes, you have to be self-aware of what you're doing and what goes on, but shift your perspective into the mindset that you're going to be okay. You know, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Whatever you're going through shall pass. But you have to have it in your mind that everything will be okay. Like, you being negative and you dwelling on whatever it is that you're dwelling on is not going to make the situation better. And that's something that I came to understand. A lot of the things that I didn't do, that's because I didn't want to do. But guess what? I would put the blame on others, like, oh no, this and this and this and this and this. And no. You know, there's nothing holding me back from my goals but myself. You know, there's people that might come in and try to, you know, play with me. There might be people that don't believe in me, or situations that happen unexpectedly. But guess what? That pit stop is needed sometimes. That pit stop is needed to sit back and reflect on what's working and what's not. So life is all about perspective. So this is something that I was actually watching a video on Gary Vee talking about perspective. And for those who don't know, I love me some Gary Vee. Gary Vee is real, raw. Like, I would love to interview him one day. But anyway, I was watching one of his videos and he was talking about perspective. And that kind of inspired this episode too. But basically, it was like tea time with Gary, and basically people come and ask him questions. So it was a girl saying that she was bullied. You know, she was bullied on TikTok. And she started to feed into what they were saying. They were calling her ugly and things like that. Gary Vee has said, it's all about perspective. Think about the worst that can happen to you. First he actually asked, think about the people you love the most. You know, she said her grandma, her mom, her boyfriend. And then Gary Vee was like, okay, now think about all three of them being in the hospital about to die. And she was like, basically he was like, if that was happening right now, would you care about those people calling you ugly? And she said no. And you know, Gary Vee said perspective. So it's all on how you think about life, how you react in that current situation. What is your attitude towards what it is that you're going through right now? And that's something that every day I have to catch myself. You know, if I catch myself being negative, if I catch myself dwelling on whatever it is that I'm going through, or if I catch myself blaming other people, catch yourself, Ada. Perspective. You know, there's people that are going through worse. It is 2020. 2020 has been crazy, to say the least. 2020 has been unexpected. 2020 has definitely been a lot of lessons. We learned a lot of lessons in 2020. It has been very freaking eventful. A lot of shit went down in 2020. And that is something that none of y'all could lie, because 2020 has been crazy. But something that it has taught me is that it's all about perspective. You know, it's all about perspective. Some people, like I just saw people that I used to go to high school with. I saw them yesterday at the store. And that was like the first time in forever me actually seeing someone that I know from a long time ago. You know, they're like, Ada? You know, with the mask, people can't really tell who you are. Ada? And I'm like, huh? Who's calling me? And I turned around and it was somebody that I knew from high school. Mind you, I graduated 3-4 years ago. Like, it's crazy. But, you know, I talked to them about it and I'm like, oh, so how are you? What are you doing? You know, and they're like, oh, nothing. Just trying to get by. You know, by their mentality and how they reacted and answered back to my question, and just their body language and things like that, I could know they're going through it. So I'm like, oh, are you guys going to school? Are you guys working? Whatever. And they were like, yeah, we just working for the man. You know, they're working their 9-to-5s. But other than that, they don't know what they want to do with their life. And, you know, we got into the conversation, like, with one of the girls. And she was like, yeah, like, I feel like I'm running out of time and all this stuff. And she says that she feels rushed with things that she's, like, she doesn't know what she wants to do in life. And she feels rushed and things like that. And, you know, when she said this, one of my episodes came to mind. And it's all about slow and steady wins the race, you know? And it's all about, you know, we often feel rushed. We often feel like we're in competition with other people. But at the end of the day, it's all about how you think about life. You know, you can't think about life like, oh my God, I'm missing out. Oh my God, I don't know what I want to do. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. No, you have to shift your perspective. You have to shift your perspective into thinking, you know what, this time, I'm taking time for me. I'm taking time to realize what I like, realize what I don't like, learn about me, doing the inner work, instead of saying that you're missing out and you don't know what you're doing and you're running out of time. And mind you, they're young like me. You know, we're all 20, 21, 22, 23. Like, none of them are over 30 years old. And that is something that a lot of people need to understand, is that we're still young. Yes, I feel like social media definitely makes you feel like you're missing out and you're not doing enough. But at the end of the day, we all have different visions and we all have different destinies and different goals. It's all about what you're doing in the meantime. So who cares if you're 21, 22, 23 and you don't know what you got going on? Shit, I don't know what I even want in life either. You know, I'm still figuring shit out. Yes, I take action and yes, I accomplish goals, but at the end of the day, I'm still young. I know that maybe what I'm doing now is not what I'm going to be doing in 10, 20 years. So it's all about perspective. It's all about how your attitude towards things. It's all about how you react towards things. So I feel like, yeah, that was what was on my mind. So I feel like, yeah, that's something that I definitely had to talk about. I feel like a lot of people are in relationships or in situations where they're struggling right now or they're going through something and they're hard on themselves. You know, they're kicking their own butt. You know, they're criticizing. They're basically their worst critic. And, you know, we all do it. I understand that. But it's all about perspective. Shift your perspective. You know, realize that there's people that are going through worse. Not that your situation is not bad or whatever the case is, not important. But guess what? There's somebody out there that wishes to be in your shoes. So next time that you're going through something, next time that you feel like I don't want to be here anymore, or I don't know what I'm doing, like I just want to quit, I just want to do that, I just want to do this. Take a break from whatever you're doing and shift your perspective. Think about, why did you start? Think about how many people want to be in your position. Think about how many people are not even able to do the things that you're doing. Think about how many people are not able to execute those goals and execute that vision like you. So think about it. It's all about perspective. And I definitely, 2020, if I could describe 2020 in one word, I feel like it would be perspective. You know, perspective. And yeah, 2020 has definitely made me realize a lot of things. Not only has it made me step out of my comfort zone, but it has taught me a lot about me. So yes, 2020 has been crazy. Wow. 2020 has been crazy. I'm not going to lie. But I wouldn't trade it for anything, because this has definitely been a year, and I know it's still not over, but it has definitely been a year of realization, of perspective, of mindset shifts, of a lot of goals that I've accomplished, of stepping out of my comfort zone, of realizing who I am, what I like, what I don't like. And I'm still learning, growing, and evolving, but 2020 has definitely been a great year, mentally. And I know that everything starts in the mind. So once you shift your mindset and once you have that growth mindset, I'm telling you, life will change. The way you view people will change. Everything will just change. So I'm super grateful and I'm super happy for you guys to be listening. And I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I was driving and now I made it to the store, so I'm about to go ahead and end this episode. As always, make sure to go ahead and follow us on Instagram at The Real Confessions Podcast. You could go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Ada Ozuna. Make sure you go ahead and leave us a review, because it will really help out the podcast. Let me know your thoughts. I'm thinking about reading the reviews here and there, maybe in the beginning of the episode or towards the end. So go ahead and leave me a review so then I can read your review on the next episode. So I'm super excited for everything that's to come. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next episode. Ada out.